Are you ready, Ray? Yeah. Okay, you guys are on record and go for it. You're online too.
Well, fans, I've got a treat for you. We have a friend of ours that's come all the way from Arlington, Washington to come race with us this weekend here at Constantine. And I got to tell you, this is a guy, how many OSY 400 in a row?
I think it was 6 in a row and 7 out of 8.
John Peters, our good man out of Arlington, Washington, has come all the way back here. He's going to leave his trailer, by the way, so that he can come to Depew for the Nationals a little bit later this month. John, you've had quite a trip. You left Tuesday, you said, and you had a little bit of an adventure.
Yeah, always an adventure when you go. I just looked at the map. 2,200 miles, and so what could go wrong sometimes does. But I hit a deer in Montana. That's real cool. The front of the motorhome isn't too excited about that. But, you know, Renegade's just down the street. So I pulled into their parking lot and talked to the parts department. So we're already loaded up with new parts. That was that good.
Are you ready to go and get it fixed over the next month?
Nah, we'll deal with that when I'm at home. But it's fine for right now.
John, how long have you been racing?
You know, I started when I was 9. So we did 9 to 13. So 4 or 5 years in there. And then I took off a good chunk of time for high school and college. And then after college, that summer after I graduated, you kind of had to figure out what you're going to do besides going to the bar. And, I mean, you get really good at that when you're in college. That's kind of your job, your social experience there. But we had all my J stuff, and which turned into A stuff. And then, you know, you always... It's inevitable that you're always going to come back to boat racing. It's just kind of what it is.
I've always told the fans that boat racing has to quit you before you can quit it. And I don't know of anybody that I've ever met that was able to quit.
No, I see. I was telling Kelsey here that my deck rider and road manager, I guess is what I'm going to call her. I can't wait to be old and run those vintage inboards where the good old boys just sit at the lake and then go out and run these inboards that can barely turn but are really loud and obnoxious. So, yeah, maybe hopefully I won't kick it or it won't kick me.
Well, one of the things that I found really interesting and with a great deal of thanks, a few years ago, Derek Gessler came up with an idea to put together a group of mechanical guys that could do all the things of putting together lower units and carburation and you name it. And you have a company that helped this out.
Yeah, we just help with printing, and then you know, that's what we do all day, every day, and it was really easy. Man, that was a you know, being a individual that I like to call myself just a driver. You know, I'm an idiot with everything that comes around boats, including the boats and the motors and the tops and the fuel and everything else. I learned a lot. It was wonderful. It was a really, really good experience.
Well, your company's Penray, and we appreciate all the help that you gave to print up all the manuals that the guys put together, and it really made a difference.
Oh, that's good because, you know, I don't care about anybody else right now, but I know I go back to that book at least twice a day to look how to time one of these conies, just because I forget every time. But those are my notes, so, you know, forget everybody else. I know I use mine twice a day.
Well, as you get ready to run for tomorrow, your boat's going to look a whole lot different than everybody else's.
Well, because it's cooler. I mean, that's just what it is.
Well, it's not only cool, but it's fast as well.
Well, we'll see about that. But, you know, I'm running, the one difference is I'm running Howard Shaw's number. He passed away over the winter. And so I'm running his, I got a little liquored up at his funeral and then asked Jan if I could run his number this year. So it's honoring him. So he's got a big R777 on the side of it.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. You're running his number, but you're going to have to gain a whole lot of weight to be able to get to Howard's status, right?
Sure, yeah, but you know, you can stand on the shoulders of others, I guess. But no, he'll. You know, he was he helped me all of last year, the last 2 years. There was a couple times, especially Depew last year. He didn't even tell me he was coming, and he showed up, and we hustled for 3 or 4 days straight. And you know, it wasn't. It was, he just did it out of the goodness of his heart.
You know, he was well known in the Northwest for racing, and his name got around to a lot of places because he had a mechanical knowledge that was kind of second to none.
Yeah, you know what? What we do in our personal lives is obviously separated from our play lives here in the boat world. But you know, people don't realize he ran GM parts department, and then it was all the big kids, and then he ended up in Hyundai running that department. So his knowledge base was vast, and then his managerial and then project managed knowledge and zero bullshit attitude was, and it was phenomenal here in boat racing. So hey, that was applied all the way across the board.
Now, how many races will you run this year?
I'll probably run a handful more. We got Depew at the end of this month, and then we're going to go back for another race in between, run inboard, but that got canceled, and so I'll probably hit Lake Lawrence at the end of the year. So anybody who wants to come to Lake Lawrence, I will personally cook them a steak, or maybe two.
Well, I know a couple of our guys, and Andrew came out, Andrew Thurlby, a few years ago, and I think some of the old vintage guys in the Sea Service, Sea Runabout, or Sea Racing came out as well.
Yeah, they always have a good show with the antique classes. They do a really, really good job there. But if that Thurlby Automotive group, if they really had big boy pants on, they'd be making it out to Lake Lawrence this year. But I don't know if they have big boy pants. We'll see.
Well, was that a challenge just thrown down?
It was, actually. I'm glad you picked up on that.
Well, tell us a little bit about the classes you're running.
We'll run in 700 and 1100. And so we're working on a 4-piper Coney. And so it's a little bit more torque, but the curve is much more tighter. So I think with an extra person, we're able to get around the course much quicker and keep straight down, but our top end just isn't quite there. So it's a compromise. Out our way, we run so much bigger courses, bigger turns, that our torque is so much more important. But
my nephew just brought a meal to me.
yeah, it's too bad. Where was mine?
I was just going to ask if you wanted a hot dog.
Take a hamburger.
No. What do you want?
Just pickle and ketchup.
That's it? Did not put bread?
Onion. No, I'm good on that.
Pickles, mustard, and onions.
Yep. So, I'm telling you, these people are bringing meals all over the place.
Oh, that's good. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Clearly, you're showing that.
Exactly. John, you've been around since, you said, 9 years old, and now with the speeds that you're running, did you ever think we'd be going as fast as we are now?
Yeah, I always wanted to go faster. I always wanted to run like an F1 boat, which, it's 140, 150, but my budgetary constraints can't even buy a propeller. So we're racing pro racing, we're loving it. You rarely see that. So at the kilos, I went to the kilos, I entered the traps at 118 miles an hour on these roundabouts. And that's really fast. But when you're going into the corner, maybe 90, 95, and you turn left, you slow down enough that the overall speed is very quick, but at least you have a little bit of downtrodden time in the corner. At least think about your life and what you're going to do at the end of the straight when it starts to lift. So.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, the design of the boats, when the Carreras and J-Dub began to do boats, changed the aerodynamics of the boats completely.
It did. Speed breeds speed, and if you keep on doing the same thing, it's going to get the same results. And so what Jay did there with the design, we ended up building that boat out of a kit that he gave us. And aerodynamically, both in top and bottom, the hydro lift and the aero lift and everything like that is a big advantage that we have, especially in the corners. You can see how we sit in the corner going around.
It's interesting. With the new design, I ran the old flat deck runabouts, and it was kind of, you chase the nose. Whatever way the nose was, if you didn't get it set in the corner, you were off to the races trying to catch up to it.
It did that to me once in testing yesterday, and it was the first time, so I dropped it down. So I knew what you were saying where it was going. It kind of goes whatever direction it wants to go, and you just kind of along for the ride, and hope nobody's on my outside. Thanks, guys.
Well, it's interesting, too, because in the old days, you'd see a lot of runabouts blowing over backwards. And to your point of, with the speed increase, I often have said that sometimes the motors overtake the boat, and then eventually the boat will overtake the motor.
Yeah, and you make a great point, but also at the same time is the prop. The prop and the understanding of the rake and the leading edge. The trailing edge has always been there. You have that great speed. And so, even the caveman days, we were still going fast with a prop there. But now with the handling and these runabouts, we've got that rake figured out. Keep that nose down. And
it's interesting because back in the old days, the 2-bladed prop, now we're running 3, 4, 5 blades, and they make a big difference in how a boat handles.
Yeah, you know, I run a variety of 5 and 6 weights. I won't run anything 4 or anything less than 5, and that is I'm not as good as a driver as I like to think I am. And then the 5 blades and the 6 blades just cover all my deficiencies very well.
Well, you know, it's interesting. It's thinking back to Depew again for a moment. Back, oh my gosh, it must have been 15 years ago. You had won the first heat, you won the second heat, and then you went upside down as we were coming back into the pit area.
Well, I think I remember a little bit differently from you. I remember dumping in the middle of the heat, but the red flag came out for another issue, so they let me restart the heat because it wasn't for me. And I have Curtis Nidal to thank for that. So thanks you, bud. I've never repaid you, nor do I intend to repay you, but it worked out for me in the end.
You know, it's amazing to me the camaraderie that is involved in boat racing. You know, my uncles all used to race stock cars at a local dirt track, and invariably a Friday or Saturday night was a wrench fight, you know? But you never see that here.
You know, I wish there was. I'd like to bring in a little bit of hockey into it, where if you're going to get in a fight, you have to come to the judges' stand. No hard tools or anything else like that. No, I'm joking. Yeah, you know, we get angry, we get upset because we're passionate about it, but usually by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, we've said our piece to each other and nearly swore. And yeah, sometimes mistakes happen, and sometimes we're just oblivious because we're dudes, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. It is what it is, but you know what's interesting to me, and one of the things that the fans at Depew have always loved is being able to have boat trailers along the front straightaway. And unfortunately with the big trailers, that's not really possible with the amount of shoreline that's available to them. But to watch a guy who's struggling to get out, and 3 guys over here are fired up and going out, and you see their crews running back to the guy that's not able to get started yet.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? You know, I remember, watching the Serous guys get off, because that's a whole technique all in itself, right? They actually just started using a starter button for that, which is a long time coming. But to see them, how they get up and going, it's that camaraderie all the way across the board. And, yeah, it's a pretty neat deal.
You know, boat racing is, I call it a traveling circus, but it's a traveling circus of friends. And that's, you know, it's amazing to watch people pull in and somebody goes over and talks, and pretty soon, you know, they're having a beer and just enjoying one another.
You know, we are a traveling circus, but thank God we don't have to deal with any kind of animals. Our responsibility level is so low. It's just going to be rough.
What do you mean we don't deal with animals? Are you crazy?
You're not talking about our children, are you? You're not going to be just obscene.
Well, listen, John, thank you so much for being here and being with us and taking the time to come over and do the interview. We surely appreciate it. We wish you luck, and go after and go get them.
All right, thanks. I would rather be lucky than good any day. Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. Thank you again.
I'm here.
All right. About you're up next. All right, our entries in the 350 runabout will be the national champion, Jackson Hall, out of DeKalb, Missouri, in boat number 51. That'll be a wine color with a yellow and white boat. Vinny Buskirk in one of the most beautiful, great day-glow green you'll ever see, boat 97. Vinny Buskirk out of Traverse City, Michigan. Again, happy birthday, Buzzy. Hope everything is good. As Mike Carrera will be in the X50, the boat orange. Mike out of Ollie, Iowa. Mike is the actual builder of many of these runabouts and the design that came about to make these runabouts a lot safer than they used to be. Mike Werner out of Dunnville, Ontario, who won the 125 runabout, now ready to go with the Sachs outfit. Paulie Bosnick III out of Williamsfield, Illinois. He'll be in the orange and blue, number 23. Jerry Davids in the clear deck, the black trim, the boat N62 out of Newport News, Virginia. Mike Werner will be in the black with the Dayglow green, number 55. 350s. Get them ready to go, guys. We are ready at the judges' stand. Ready to go. 1100 hydro. Get them to the water. 1100 hydro. You're up right after the 350s. Again, 1100 hydro. Get them ready to roll, guys. So 350 runabout, 1100 hydro, and 250 hydro. Again, speeds over 100 miles an hour, capable of all three of these classes. Turn judge, can you hear us talking to you? Turn judge, whoever was doing the radio check, Sue was answering you. You cannot hear her? Safety boat.
Who's the other turn judge? Who's the other turn judge? Is he over there?
He was right next to it. Ethan Fox.
Brian Palmquist, can you pick up your radio, please? Brian. Brian Palmquist, can you hear us? Give a wave if you can hear Sue on the radio, please. If you can't, stop where you're at. .350 runabout, 30 to the 3. 30 to the 3 for heat number 1 of 350 runabout. 350 cc's, about 20 cubic inches of motor, turning at about 10 to 12,000 RPM. Capsules in the water, please. Strapping in. Again, capsule boats, be strapping in, ready to go. Now we see Paulie Bosnick in the orange boat on the water. The clear deck of Jerry David out of Newport News, Virginia, and now on the water. That beautiful day-glow green of Vinnie Buskirk. Mike Carrera in the rooster tail in the orange. Mike and his dad designed and built these style runabouts with Mike Werner in the green, day-glow green, and black number 55. Now we've got all 6 on the water. Well, there's at least 4 national champions on the water. Check that, 5 national champions on the water. All right, Paulie Bosnick and Jerry Davids leading them around the corner. Then Jackson Hall, Mike Carrera, Vinnie Buskirk, and Mike Werner.
5, 4,
Carrera on the inside, Jackson Hall, Jerry Davids. Into that corner now. Carrera out front. Mike won the 350 title last year with the very first VRP motor that ever entered into the country. And look at him go out front of Davids, Jackson Hall, Bosnick, and Vinnie Buskirk. Carrera now out front, blue and yellow. Carrera continuing to lead as Jerry Davids goes dead in the water down in the bottom corner with Jackson Hall, Mike Werner, Bosnick, and Vinnie Buskirk. As now Carrera comes out of the bottom corner. Jerry standing up in his boat. He wants everybody to see him. Carrera continuing to lead. Mike is a farmer out of the central part of Iowa. But what a genius in building these runabouts as Mike Carrera out front. Jackson Hall, Mike Werner out of Canada for the 3rd spot. Capsule drivers, get locked in. Capsule drivers. 1 more lap to go as Mike Carrera out of Ollie, Iowa. Jackson Hall, Werner, and Paulie Bosnick. Carrera now with just a quarter of a lap to go. Oh, he went dead. Mike Carrera went dead in the water. Opens up the door for Jackson Hall. Mike Werner will take the second spot. And Paulie Bosnick will take third. And Vinny Buskirk will take the fourth spot. Unbelievable. Mike Carrera with just the last corner to come through and head for the start-finish line finds himself sitting down in the bottom corner. Oh my goodness. All right, our next class up will be the 1100 Hydro. The world record in 1100 Hydro over 125 miles an hour. With Ray Bradford out of Copish, Michigan. He'll be in the black 96. Doug Hall will be in the red wine color, yellow and white, number 51 out of DeKalb, Missouri. Andy Kurtz will be in boat M8. That is the red, yellow, and black capsule boat. Nick Shakeshaft will be in the Buttercup, the all-yellow, number 25 out of Sarasota, Florida. Eric Vanover will be in boat M14 out of the Thurlby Automotive Trailer from Cincinnati, Ohio, Eric Vanover. And Jim Kurtz, Andy's dad, will be in M9 out of Mount Morris, Michigan. So we've got 8 of these beasts for you. And let me tell you, they put the meat to the pedal. Now, a couple of things are going to happen in this. What the drivers are doing and the crews are doing right now is they're strapping their driver into a 5-point harness. That harness is set up so that it's a quick release. If a driver were to go upside down, they just press one button in the middle of their chest, and that allows them to drop out of the boat. Now, the drivers are mandatory to carry oxygen with them. Some do oxygen full-time, some only part-time. But the oxygen has to be available. Some of the drivers will strap the oxygen tube to their leg, while some just absolutely put the mask on and have it full-time. They sit in a 5-point harness in a seat. As they're sitting there, they have a limited view out the window of the capsule. And what happens here is you have to have a helper on the beach with a radio. And the radio guy helps them tell where the other competitors are at. Now, as they mill, they have to mill the whole course until the 1-minute gun goes off. At that point, they can begin to cross over into the middle of the course. But up until that time, they have to absolutely stay on all, to the outside of all 6 buoys on the water. Now, the life jacket that these guys wear is completely different than the drivers like Jerry Davids that you see going on into the pit area. Because the big, heavier life jacket, actually we learned a lesson at Depew a number of years ago when Howard Anderson went upside down at Depew in a capsule boat, and when he was upside down, he pushed the button to release the 5-point harness. The only problem was his life jacket was doing its job and trying to float him to the surface of the water. Problem there, the bottom of the boat was between him and the surface of the water. It actually was trapping him up inside the cockpit. He eventually was able to free himself, and as I was talking to him, he said he had one last push as he'd gotten tangled in the straps and was able to get himself extricated and to get out. But I can tell you, a quick sigh of relief from everybody on the beach. 30 to the 3, guys. 30 to the 3. Whoop. All right. Still 30 to the 3, guys. Still on it. Doug Hall, a number of years ago at Depew, went over, and the boat would not respond enough, so they ended up having to pull him over onto the bottom of the boat. But Doug is a fireman down in the Kansas City area and carried oxygen with him at that time and was able to survive being underwater for quite some time. So it's a very critical thing with these. We have a diver on the safety boat. If one of these boats goes over, they immediately head for that boat. They immediately head for that boat, and the diver will actually go into the water, and he has shears that if he had to, he could cut the straps out completely to be able to release that driver out of the boat and into the water. So a lot of safety things have gone on. The other thing that we've done is we painted the bottom of the boat orange. The reason why that is because when a boat like this is upside down, the amount of weight pulling the boat down into the water is really heavy. And so it's tough to see a boat upside down. And so that's why we began to paint the bottom a color that you could see. All right, 250 hydros, get them to the water. 250 hydros to the water, please. All right, we see Eric Vanover in the black and green. Here comes Andy Kurtz. Check that, that's Ike Yoder in the Dan Kurtz H4. Andy will be driving the gray and blue M8. Nick Shakeshaft out of Sarasota, Florida in the yellow boat. Ray Bradford in the blue and this should be a heck of a run. Doug Hall on the water. He sit in a Kevlar capsule. We literally saw Robert Marshall's boat explode, and all that was left was debris. But Robert floated out just fine. All right, the yellow and red of Doug Hall. The blue of Ray Bradford. The gray and blue of Andy Kurtz. The yellow of Nick Shakeshaft. The yellow, black, and red of Ike Yoder. Well, in Tom Cruise's Top Gun, they asked if you had a need for speed. Watch this. Ike Yoder up the run with Eric Vanover. Andy Kurtz. Ike Yoder, they'll look at that film, but I think he was okay as Yoder. Oh, Doug Hall off the pace. Something happened with Doug's motor as Ike Yoder out in front of Eric Vanover. Ike Yoder. Oh, Ike went into that corner. There's Vanover. Now, Andy Kurtz. Look at Andy on the outside. Wants that second spot. As he and Vanover in that corner. Eric comes out on top yet. Ike Yoder out of that bottom corner. Out front, finishing up lap number 2. Oh, look at there, the cowling. The cowling came off of his boat. And it's sitting out in the water someplace. As Ike Yoder missing the cowling. Andy Kurtz now takes that second spot over Vanover. Nick Shakeshaft in the Buttercup, the yellow boat. Well, having no cowling is not very good for these motors as they take a real beating. As Ike Yoder with one more to go. Vanover looks like he's got a little bit of engine trouble. As now Ike Yoder will come out of the bottom corner, head for that finish line. As Yoder, your winner in heat number 1. Ray Bradford. Andy Kurtz. Eric Vanover now. And Nick Shakeshaft. $250 Hydros, you're up next. $250 Hydros. Well, I got to tell you, here we come with 250cc Hydros with Gary Merkel out of Arlington, Illinois, boat 30, a red boat. The brown and yellow of Eric Wilson out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, boat 300. Vinny Buskirk in that beautiful orange 97 out of Traverse City, Michigan, Vinny Buskirk. Pete Nydall out of Bristol, Wisconsin in boat 71. Curtis Nydall, his son, in boat number 17, also from Bristol, Wisconsin. J.P. Jedwabny out of Appleton, Wisconsin, boat number 88. John Palmquist in boat number 20 out of Boca Raton, Florida, the Mike Schmidt Racing entry. Chris Helston out of Lebanon, Tennessee. He'll be in boat 222. And Kevin Ellison, his nephew, will be in boat number 7 out of Luxembourg, Wisconsin. Merkel will be in a red boat. Eric Wilson in the brown and yellow. Vinny Buskirk in the orange. Pete Nydall in a white with blue numbers. Curtis Nydall will be in the boat 17, which is white with the black lettering. J.P. Jedwabny with a white boat with the day-glow green cowling. I'm not sure which boat John Palmquist is going to run, either the black boat or the red boat, but we'll know pretty quick. And Chris Helston with a white boat with a day-glow green, as well as his nephew Kevin, also in a white with the yellow or the green day-glow. So 250s, get them ready to go. 250 hydro. 30 to the 3. 30 to the 3. All right, guys, coming up on the 3-minute gun. Again, Gary Merkel, Eric Wilson, Vinny Buskirk, Pete Nidall, Curtis Nidall, J.P. Jedwabny, John Palmquist, Chris Elston, and Kevin Ellison. Here it comes, guys. Kevin Ellison on the water. .350 runabouts, get him back to the water. .350 runabout, back to the water, please. Chris Elston now joins his nephew Kevin on the water. J.P. Jedwabny now gets to the water. Vinny Buskirk now comes out in that beautiful orange. Eric Wilson trying to clean that motor out. He loaded it up coming off the beach. I don't see J.P. Jedwabny. Oh, there. Got J.P. over in the first turn. Well, the world record white flag. Well, John Palmquist is in the black. Number 20. Well, the world record is 112 miles an hour. In the blue and yellow. All right, here they come out of the corner. Got one already headed up towards the start. He's early. They're all early. Well, they were all early, and I think Vinny Buskirk, who led him across, I think Vinny Buskirk was the jumped the gun in the orange boat. So that puts, I think it's Chris Elston out front. Yeah, Vinny Buskirk, your leader on the water, has jumped the gun. Chris Elston, Curtis Nidall, Eric Wilson, Gary Merkel, Pete Nidall now gets by on the inside. Kevin Ellison now at speed. He came up too early. 350s, get him to the water, guys. 350s to the water. Chris Helston, your leader. But look at this, as Curtis Neidall now beginning to knock on that door. One more heat. Curtis beginning to close the gap on Chris Helston. But Chris continuing to lead with Eric Wilson in the 4th spot. Look at this! Oh my goodness! Curtis Neidall! You could have thrown a blanket over those two right at the end as Curtis somehow found the speed. Curtis Neidall never gave up, and he was in about the 5th or 6th spot when they crossed over the start-finish line, and Chris got out front. But slowly but surely, as Curtis kept reeling him in, and then finally got inside of him at the corner, and that was enough to get the win here at the judge's line. What a run by Chris Helston and Curtis Neidall for a 1st and a 2nd that there probably wasn't 3 feet a boat of Curtis's in front of Chris Helston. All right, we got a few boats to get in. 350 runabouts, you need to be in the water, please, ready to go. 1100 hydro, you'll be right behind them for your 2nd heat. We do have the cowling that belongs to Ike Yoder's H4. We need to get that on him so that we're ready to go. Again, don't forget drivers meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock upstairs again. And please remember, no firing of engines until afternoon tomorrow. We have a church that's just down the street from us, and we want to honor their ability to have a quiet service. So no firing of engines until afternoon. We'll have a little bit of test time in the morning. And after we're done with our test time, we'll begin racing probably around 12:30, 12:45, as we'll finish out. Again, over 50 years in a row of racing here at the American Legion post at Constantine. Again, our thanks to the folks at the Legion. Again, if you have not bought your tickets for tonight, I'm not even sure you can get them, but I bet you could. So if you're wanting to go to the steak dinner tonight, you need to get a ticket, and they need a count so that they've got everything that you'll need for some great dinner tonight with great fixings along with that steak. Now we're pulling in J.P. Jadwabny and John Palmquist, Ray Bradford, and the cowling for high Yoder's H4, we've got that coming on in. And then 350s will be ready to roll as soon as we get everybody back in place. So we've got 6 more heats of racing for you. And then we'll call it a day and start all over again tomorrow. We've got great fields of boats for you tomorrow as well, as we'll have kind of the opposite class of today as tomorrow. We'll run the 500 hydro instead of the 1100, but we'll have 2 heats of K-Pro. We'll have 250 runabout, then 350 hydro, 700 runabout, 500 hydro, 125 hydro, and then we'll finish the day with the absolute crazies of 1100 runabout with 2 people in the boat. 1 driving, 1 praying. All right, guys, we're going to get our safety boat turned around, headed back towards the middle field, and we're going to go 30 to the 3, drivers. 30 to the 3. We are on the 30 to the 3, guys. All right, there it is, 350 runabout with Jackson Hall, your winner, as Mike Carrera had some kind of a motor issue and found himself sitting down in the bottom corner with just the straightaway to come for the finish and a win. But unfortunately, Mike sat down there in that corner and only could watch Jackson as he finished out front. Mike Werner out of Dunnville, Ontario, Canada, finishing in the 2nd spot. Paulie Bosnick for 3rd, and Vinny Buskirk for 4th. All right, as we get ready to go with 350 runabout, again, about 20 cubic inches, running around 12,000 RPM. Jerry David's back on the water. Good to see. And we see Mike Creer also on the water. Not at speed, though. Maybe something amiss yet in that engine. There, he got it to fire up. It was loaded up a little bit, and he finally got it to clean out. Got the excess fuel out of those cylinders and was able to get it back to speed. Mike Werner, your 2nd place boat over on the backstretch in the green, Dayglow green and black. There's Mike Creer in the X50. $1,100 hydro, get him in the water, guy. 1,100 hydro to the water. 1100 hydro in the water, please. Get them strapped in, guys. Time to go. All right, Jackson Hall leading Mike Carrera, Mike Werner, Paulie Bosnick. Jerry Davids peeks out alongside of Jackson Hall.
15, 10, 5,
They're early. You can hear the up and down. Good drive. Carrera on the inside. Jackson Hall. Mike Carrera out front again. Let's see if he can hold her together. As Jackson Hall hidden in that room. Oh! Carrera just let go again. That puts Jackson Hall out front again with Werner and Bosnick fighting out for second. Jackson Hall out of DeKalb, Missouri, out front of Werner, Bosnick, and Vinny Buskert. Well, Mike Carrera had the speed, but he just didn't have the mechanical side of it fixed and ends up over on the backstretch. As Jackson now continuing to lead over Werner and Bosnick. Oh, Paulie Bosnick missed a buoy and has to go back around. And he has to put all three of those buoys on his left. As Paulie missed the buoy and had to go back around complete. And now he's going to have to chase Vinny Buskert to see if he can pick up that third spot again. As Jackson Hall will look for the white flag with one to go. Jackson Hall, his son, is the son of Doug Hall, who hopefully we'll see back out in the Y51. Jackson, the grandson of longtime champion Rex Hall, who is the Rossi distributor for the United States, as Vinny Buskert gets passed by Paulie Bosnick to take that third spot back again. As now Jackson Hall will look for the checkered flag from David Jones, as Jackson, their winner in heat number 2. Werner for the second spot again. And Paulie Bosnick and Vinny Buskert for that third and fourth spot. And Paulie Bosnick finishing third, and Vinny Buskert finishing in the fourth. All right, 1100 hydro. We got a couple of boats we've got to get off the backstretch. And as soon as we get those in, we're going to be pulling those other 2 boats in. Again, fans, don't forget, we've got a good special going for you at boatracing.tkdssports.com. You can sign up for a 3-month trial for $29.99. And that will give you every national race that's going to be run. Plus, there are other races that Kevin and his crew are doing. So if you'd like to see what boat racing looks like on your television at home, you can certainly do that with boatracing.tkdssports.com. We also will have an affiliate program for you. When you sign up and link to us, we will then have an affiliate program which we will then credit you back 10% for each person that signs up under your link. So get with boatracing.tkdssports.com, sign on for the $29.99 special, and then you'll be able to link up and actually defray some of the costs when any friends or family signs on with you. All right, 1100 hydro, get them ready to roll, guys. Ike Yoder in the red and black and yellow. Number H4 was your winner in that first heat, as Ike got out front right at the get-go, driving the Dan Kurtz entry as he finished out front, with Andy Kurtz finishing in the second spot, with Eric Vanover for third, Nick Shakeshaft for fourth, and Ray Bradford for the fifth spot. So as soon as we get the 2 boats in, we'll be ready to go. All right, we're checking out your red light on the dash of your capsules. Are they working? Look at your capsule dashboard. Are your red lights on? Give us a wave. That red light that Jeff Lake, our referee, is talking about, if there was an incident on the course, Jeff will press a button and a red light will appear on all the dashboards of the capsule boats, and they know they have to come to an immediate stop with that red light on. Again, these drivers in that capsule, Robert Marshall, a few years ago down at Depew, came down the front straightaway and he got a little airborne and he ended up doing what we call stuffing it. And that means that the pickle forks went directly into the water rather than over the water. And when it did, the boat literally exploded into hundreds and hundreds of pieces. But Robert was strapped into the capsule, and all of a sudden, here come the capsule floating out from the debris, and Robert was just fine. Well, Mike Carrera can only wonder what. Both times pulled on the string, but the wrong string, as the string is pulling him in for the second time. Again, Mike builds these types of runabouts that you're seeing. Well, Jerry David's built his own in this particular class. But the design that Mike and his dad came up with put a whole different safety aspect to runabout racing. There's only one runabout I can remember in all the years that I've seen that boat go upside down, and that was Mike's brother Rich down in Florida at a race down there, but he hit something and it got him airborne, and up and over he went. All right, we get Jerry Davids in and get Mike in, and then we'll be ready to roll. The awards at the dinner tonight? That makes sense? All right, we get our turn judges back into their spots. We'll be ready to go with heat number 2 of 1100. Again, the red, black, and yellow capsule, the Dan Kurtz entry with Ike Yoder at the wheel, was your winner. Strap them in, guys. You need to be ready to go. As soon as we get the turn judges back toward their spots, we are going to go. All right, we understand that we had one driver that was with a motor problem. They've got that issue resolved. He's getting strapped in right now. So we should be ready to go. You know, it's amazing what they're able to do now with these motors with the what we call the jug system, where the drive shaft comes right up through the middle, and we have jugs on the exterior. There's no block per se, and the team that had the problem have already changed a complete cylinder in about 20 minutes, where in the old days, if you stuck a piston in one of the old style motors, you were done for the day. You take it home, you pull it apart, you hone the cylinders, you put a new piston together, and a whole lot of work. Where today they can do it right on the beach in about 20 minutes. All right, we see our turn judge in the first turn and in the bottom turn. As soon as we get the high sign from Big Pal, we'll be ready to go. Again, we have a diver on our safety boat. In case one of these drivers were to be upside down, the safety boat would immediately head to that boat. 30 to the 3, guys, 30 to the 3. The divers would head to that boat immediately. Our divers have air tanks on them, and into the water they go and go in underneath the boat to assist the driver to be able to drop down out of the boat and into the water and into safety. All right, coming up. Coming up on the 3-minute gun, guys, right about as soon as Wendy punches the button, you are on the water. There it is. All right, Eric Vanover on the water. In the Throby Automotive entry. All right, Eric Vanover on the water. Looks like he may have loaded it up, trying to get it to break free. There he goes. You see what he did? He made a sharp left-hand turn. It puts a load on the motor and heats it up and blows that fuel right out. Andy Kurtz now. Ike Yoder. Nick Shakeshaft in the yellow boat. The pink. Jim Kurtz, Andy's dad, in the M9. Looking to see, there's Doug Hall on the water in the backstretch. No. Yeah, this is Jim Kurtz's first heat, as he was unable to get rolling in the second heat. I'm sorry, the first heat. All right, we're on the clock with less than a minute to go now. Well, Doug Hall pulling off. He's got some kind of a motor issue even yet. All right, they'll gather up on the backstretch now. Oh, Jim Kurtz got himself trapped. He's got to hustle now, as he had to go around all the buoys for the start. He's fast, but I don't know if he's going to catch up to everybody. Here they come for the start. Bradford on the outside. Ike Yoder, Eric Vanover. Look at the speed out of Ike Yoder. Down that back stretch in that Dan Kurtz entry with Eric Vanover chasing him. Andy Kurtz. Jim Kurtz as Nick Shakeshaft loaded up trying to get that motor to free up. 250 hydros. Get them in the water, guys. 250 hydros to the water. Again, 250 hydro to the water. Mercy. Ike Yoder is really, really fast as he sets himself up with a possible second heat win. Eric Vanover in second. Andy Kurtz in the third spot. Jim Kurtz for fourth. As Yoder now. One more lap to go. Ike Yoder out of White Pigeon, Michigan, about 5 miles from here. Eric Vanover out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Clio, Michigan's Andy Kurtz. Mount Morris, Michigan's Jim Kurtz, Andy's dad. As Ike Yoder just picking him up and laying him down as your winner, Ike Yoder. Eric Vanover coming through the bottom corner. He and Andy Kurtz will be tied up on points for second if it finishes this way. Andy Kurtz for third. And Jim Kurtz for the fourth spot. $250 Hydro, you're up next. 250s, get them in the water, guys. With Curtis Nightall having won the first heat, with the second the second place belonging to Chris Helston, as they had a heck of a fight for that top spot, with third going to Curtis's dad, Pete Nightall, the fourth spot to Eric Wilson, and the fifth spot went to Kevin Ellison. We'll look to see if Gary Merkel and John Palmquist are able to answer the call, along with J.P. Jedwabny. All three of those had some trouble, and Vinny Buskert will look to see if he's able to run as well. $30 to the 3, guys. $30 to the 3. All right, the gun has been fired, ready to go. All right, Eric Wilson now in the yellow and brown. Oh, looks like J.P. Jedwabny over on the backstretch, unable to keep that motor running. Well, we'll look to see if Chris Helston and Curtis Nightall, who battled it out in that first heat, can replicate what they did. Now we see John Palmquist on the water. All right, the 1 minute gun has been fired as they now will work their way over to the backstretch. All right, Gary Merkel already, red flag. Red flag. We got a red flag. Shoot the gun. Yeah, we got one boat up there in the first turn in a really tough spot, and that was the reason for the red flag. You just can't send 7 or 8 boats into that first turn blind and have that boat sitting there as just ping pong ball at that point. So we red flag. He'd be not eligible to run, but JP Jadwabny will be to get JP back in. So again, fans, we're getting down to the end of the day. I understand we've got a couple of guys with issues. All right, 250s, listen up. 250 hydros, listen up. We are going to refuel you and send you right back out. But we do have JP over in the backstretch. We're going to bring him in. And if he's able to run, we got to give him a couple of minutes to see if he can sort out what the issue is. And then we'll turn you loose. Boat number 20, John Palmquist, will not be eligible for the restart of this heat. All right, we're going to pull JP in and give him a chance to see if he can get back out in this heat of racing. So we get JP in off the water. We'll give him a minute or two to sort out what any issues might be. And we're going to send the 250s right back out. So refuel, guys, and get ready to go. And then we'll come back with the third and final heat of 350 runabout, 1100 hydro, and the third and final heat of this class, the 250 hydro. So we got 4 more heats of racing to do for you. So still time to get over to the concession stand over at the American Legion Post. We thank them for all their efforts in our behalf. Again, over 50 years in a row that we've been here at Constantine to put on the races here. Fans, we're grateful that you stayed with us today. Hopefully you'll be back tomorrow. We'll have another great show for you tomorrow with a lot of good size classes in terms of boat numbers as we get ready to wind it down tomorrow. And then we'll be off until the week of the 24th of July, and we'll be at the APBA Nationals down at Depew, Illinois. We'll start racing on Tuesday afternoon, and we go from 9 to about 6 every day during that time frame. So that'll go from Tuesday afternoon until Sunday late in the afternoon, as we'll have as many as 160 heats of racing to do that week. All right, as these guys get ready for heat number 2, again, your winner in that first heat was Curtis Nidal in the boat number 17, a white boat with the black trim. Chris Helston in the white with the Dayglow green cowling. And Curtis's dad, Pete Neidall, the president of the U.S. Title Series, in the in the white and blue, number 71. Your top three. Well, the look of the 1100 Hydro, it looks to me like people are going to have to find some speed to keep up with Ike Yoder. Is he in the Dan Kurtz entry out front in both heats of racing? What a tremendous race between Chris Helston and Curtis Neidall as Curtis got him about halfway up the straightaway. He finally got alongside of him, and at the finish line, maybe a couple of 3 feet of boat out in front of Chris Helston. So we're checking on JP Jadwabny to see what his issues are, and if he can get back out, we'd love to see it. If not, 30 to the 3 for heat number 2 of 250 Hydro. Again, 30 to the 3. All right, guys, coming up on your 3-minute gun. There it is. Kevin Ellison on the water already. Well, JP trying to get that motor to clean out. It just does not want to cooperate. Oh, he goes dead right at the exit of 1. So we're going to have to help him to get out of that. Well, unfortunately for JP, it just doesn't want to run. Eric Wilson now in the brown and yellow, boat number 300. Vinny Buskirk and Gary Merkel on the backstretch. Kevin Ellison right there in front of you. 350s, get them ready, guys. 350 runabouts, get them in the water. 350 runabouts, you're up next. Well, look at this down the backstretch. You got the 2 Neidalls, you got Vinny Buskirk and Chris Helston. Curtis Neidall leading them up. Pete Neidall. Chris Helston. Chris Helston was the driver over in the corner and not able to keep it running. Oh my. Well, Curtis Neidall jumped out front right at the get-go as Kevin Ellison and Pete Neidall, Vinny Buskirk and Eric Wilson. 350s. Get them ready to roll, guys. 350 runabouts. Curtis Neidall, Ellison, Pete Neidall, Vinny Buskirk, and Eric Wilson. Well, Curtis came up for the start at full speed, and you can see he is not letting up at all as he stretches out over Ellison and his dad, Pete Neidall. Now Curtis Neidall puts Gary Merkel a lap down. That's pretty tough to do in 4 laps, but it gives you an indication of the kind of speed that Curtis Neidall carrying. 1 more lap to go. Kevin Ellison for that second spot with Pete Neidall, Buskirk, Wilson, and Merkel. Eric Wilson for that 5th spot. As now Curtis coming through the bottom corner. Your winner in heat number 2. Back-to-back heat wins for Curtis Neidall. Kevin Ellison will finish in the 2nd spot. The 3rd spot to Pete Neidall. 4th to Vinny Buskirk. The 5th spot will go to Eric Wilson. And the 6th spot will go to Gary Merkel. Well, maybe. As Gary now off the pace. Gary Merkel trying to finish. As Curtis Neidall, what speed that young man has as he finished out front. Considerable margin as Gary Merkel with trouble, the engine loading up on him. He's now across the finish line for the 6th spot. 350 runabouts. Get them ready to roll, guys. .350 runabouts. Get them ready. 350s. All right, 350 runabouts. You're up next. Jackson Hall with 2 first-place wins is your point leader. With Mike Werner and Paulie Bosnick tied up on points for that second spot. And we'll pull Chris Helston in, and then we'll get ready to roll for the third heat of 350 runabout. Then we'll go to the third and final heat of 1100, and then finish off the day with the last heat of 250 hydro. Again, tomorrow, no firing of engines, guys, until after 12 noon. Give the church up the street the silence that they need to be able to have their church services. And then we'll have some test time. Our driver's meeting will be at 10 o'clock upstairs as it was yesterday. Check that. Our driver's meeting is at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Upstairs in the American Legion post where we met this morning. So 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for driver's meeting. All right, 350 runabout, 30 to the 3. 30 to the 3 for 350 runabout. Your final heat with Jackson Hall, your point leader with 800 points. We'll see if Mike Carrera has fixed what the issue was and get him back out on the course to see if he has an opportunity to score a win in one of the heats. With Paulie Bosnick and Mike Werner tied up on points for the third and final heat of 350 runabout. 1100 hydros, get them ready to go, guys. 1100 hydro, you're up right after the 350. So we've got 3 heats of racing left. All right, there it is, guys. The 3-minute gun. I guess nobody wants to go first on this one. There's Paulie Bosnick, Jackson Hall, Mike Werner, Vinny Buskirk, Mike Carrera, Jerry Davids, if Jerry's able to run. And there's Jerry on the water. Mike Carrera is on the water. Paulie Bosnick. Jerry Davids. Jackson Hall. Capsule boats, get them ready, guys. Capsule boats, you're up next. Again, capsule boats, you are up next. right, there's the 1 minute gun. Now we got one down again. Now let's see, we got Mike Carrera, Mike Werner, Jackson Hall, Jerry Davids, and Vinny Buskirk. Paulie Bosnick must be on the course someplace. Oh, Mike Carrera again with issues. Here comes Paulie on the outside, leading him up. Paulie Bosnick, Jackson Hall, Werner, Jerry Davids, and Vinny Buskirk. Now down the backstretch, Paulie Bosnick out in front of Jackson Hall, Mike Werner, Jerry Davids now. Unfortunately for Paulie Bosnick, he jumped the gun. That puts then Jackson Hall out front, but Jerry Davids on the outside, challenging him up as Jerry Davids. Jerry Davids come down that front straightaway, and that boat hooked to the right, then hooked back to the left, and just was all over the place. Fortunately, he got it straightened back up. Well, unfortunately for Paulie Bosnick, he jumped the gun and will not receive points. That puts Jerry Davids out front. Jackson Hall, Mike Werner. Look at Jerry. Jerry's not giving up. But that boat got pretty squirrely. Again, coming down the front straightaway. And when they do that, that sometimes takes you for a wild looping ride. Paulie Bosnick hanging on to the lead, but it'll all be for naught. As Jerry Davids is your leader, the second place boat is actually the lead boat with Werner and Hall. Jerry Davids. Mike Werner will finish second. And Jackson Hall for third. Well, Jerry Davids didn't know it, but he was not going to take the chance as he won that heat of racing by overtaking Paul Bosnick right at the end. But Paulie had already been disqualified for having jumped the gun. Well, let's see. Sue Saylor, our chief scorer, has thrown her own son out for jumping the gun and now does the same for her son-in-law. What a deal. The boys will be looking for Sue. Oh boy, you got Mike Werner sitting over on the backstretch along with Mike Carrera, but I think we can pull both of those into the middle since they are done now. And 1100 will be ready to go. 1100 hydro with Ike Yoder, whose back-to-back heat wins, sets him up with 800 points. Andy Kurtz with a second and a third with some good points. And Eric Vanover also with good points. She's got you, pal. Big Pal, our pit boss, that was his son, Paulie Bosnick, on the water, that his mother-in-law threw him out for jumping the gun. But, of course, she also did that to her own son, Jason Saylor, earlier today. So probably not nothing to worry about. Tell him to bring more beer next time. All right, 1100, we're going to hold these guys in the middle as soon as we get Mike Carrera off the outside edge along with the other boat. We'll bring them into the middle, hang on to them, and you will be on the clock shortly. 250 hydro, you're in right behind them. So 250 hydro, you need to get ready to go right after the 1100s are off the beach. Again, Ike Yoder with great speed. He's setting himself up to be the marked guy when we get to Depew with the kind of speed that he's showing right now. So quite an accomplishment in a big four-cylinder to be able to finish two heats back-to-back. As Ike Yoder out of White Pigeon, just down the street from Constantine. All right, as soon as we get Mike Carrera into the middle, we've got Mike Werner in the middle. We're asking our towboats to bring them straight across into the middle. And then our turn judges will need to go to their point. And we've got two more heats of racing for you. Again tomorrow, no engine firing until noon. We will not have our drivers meeting until 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for our meeting for the drivers meeting. All right, guys, 30 to the 3. 30 to the 3 for 1100 hydro. Don't forget, Mike Wynant has a whole parcel. Mike Wynant has two boats. They're both B&H 125s. He's got a Rossi 125, a Rossi 128, a Rossi 175. VRP, he's got two VRP 128s. He has two VRP 175 twins. And he's got 4 different gear cases and lots of props. And if you want to come and look at the list, I've got it right here at the judges stand. And the hydros are top-notch boats, have won national title. The 125 Rossies. He's got a 175 single Rossi. He has the VRPs, that balance shaft power head, the VRP with the newest cylinder and head ceramic, the two 175 twins with winning engines with history, custom carbs, ports, and heads, spare pipes, lots of extra material. Lots of extra material. But see Mike, if you're looking for an engine, a boat, lower units, see Mike Wynett. He has a bunch of equipment for sale. Middle pin. $30 to the 3, guys. $30 to the 3. All right, guys, there it is. The 3-minute gun has been fired. Eric Vanover hits the water. Well, we'll see if Doug Hall has been able to fix whatever issue he had and gets back on the water. Along with Andy Kurtz in the M8, the H4 of Ike Yoder, the 95 of Ray Bradford, if we can see him again. The 24 of there's Ike. Jim Kurtz now fires up. Ike Yoder now. 250s to the water. 250s to the water, please. 250 hydros to the water. Again, 250 hydros to the water. Doug Hall's on the water. It'll be interesting if Doug can run at speed. It'll be interesting to watch what he and Ike Yoder will be able to do to one another. Andy Kurtz in the gray and blue M8, just right here in front. His dad, Jim Kurtz, in that blue and purple. White flag now. $250s. Get them to the water, guys. $250s to the water. 250 hydros to the water, please. All right, Jim Kurtz leading them down the backstretch. Eric Vanover now in the green and black. Andy Kurtz slugging along in the gray and blue. Doug Hall in the yellow and red. Ike Yoder. Ike does not want to jump the gun, and he's going to play cagey. And he's not going to jump up with the rest of them because he does not have to win to be able to take the overall title. Eric Vanover on the inside. Kurtz outside. Well, Doug Hall not able to answer the call once again. That's got to be really frustrating to that group. As Eric Vanover on the water out front of Jim Kurtz. But look at Ike Yoder on the outside. Look at the speed down that backstretch. As Now M9 and M14 both jumped the gun. And Ike Yoder finds himself out front once again. Well, Andy Kurtz finds himself back in that fourth spot on the water, but he's actually the second place boat, as the first and third place boats both jumped the gun. Ike is going to tiptoe through the corner. He does not want to get in the wake of Eric Vanover or in the spray, as now Ike takes the lead. Jim Kurtz now in second, except he jumped the gun as Eric now comes off the pace. Ike Yoder will be looking for the white flag with one more to go as Ike comes out of the bottom corner. Whenever you need somebody to do something, here's the guy. Man, Ike has got some great speed. It'll be interesting when we go to Depew. Well, unfortunately, Andy Kurtz now off the pace. We have one legal boat, and that's this guy right here. Ike Yoder, your winner. Ike from White Pigeon, Michigan, takes home the title with 3 heats. He and Mike Werner today, all heats won in each of their classes. All right, one more heat of racing yet today, and that'll be our 250 Hydro Final with Curtis Nightall having won both heats of racing that we've run so far. But we've got a number of boats to get in off the water. What a great job by Ike Yoder and his crew. Tremendous job by Ike. One of the most unassuming guys and just a sweetheart in terms of always willing to help. We lost his dad, Bob, earlier this year, and really a blow. But Ike right up there today as he finishes out front in 3 heats of racing, as he and Mike Werner in the 125 runabout, both of them have finished all 3 heats out front. All right, guys, 30-3 for the last heat of the day. Our 250 hydro with the winner of both heats so far, Curtis Nidall in the white with the black number 17 as he gets ready to roll with 2 heat wins already. I don't believe Chris Helston is going to run in this heat of racing. John Palmquist would be eligible, so we'll see who all hits the water as Gary Merkel will be ready to go, along with Eric Wilson, Pete Nidall. Kevin Ellison. We'll see if J.P. Jadwabny can answer the call as well. There's Kevin Ellison on the water. Down the backstretch now, that's Kevin Ellison out of Luxembourg, Wisconsin, up near Green Bay. Well, everybody else is kind of waiting to not put a whole lot of time on those motors. Vinny Buskirk and Eric Wilson now come to the water. Waiting on Pete and Curtis Nidall to come. All right, white flag now. There's your winner. Right there is Pete Nidall, his son Peter Curtis, right in front of him. Now Vinny Buskirk sitting over on the backstretch. All right, here they come out of the corner. Red flag. All right, guys, we're going to refuel you and go. So Vinny Buskirk will not be eligible, but all the other boats are. So get them refueled and get them ready to roll. Dump the fuel in. Some good PowerMist. Methanol. Each of our drivers will refuel and then we'll be ready to go. Pull Vinny Buskirk into the middle. Again, Buzzy, I don't know if you heard us before, but happy birthday, my man. If you're looking for anything in 175 or 125 in terms of equipment, you need to go see Mike Weinert as soon as you can. He has two B&H 125 and C-Mod hydros for sale. He's got a Rossi 125. He has a Rossi sitting small boat cylinder. He has a 128 newest cylinders, a 175 single cylinder custom straight headed ceramic coated with spare pistons, a VRP 128, a VRP 128, and two VRP 175s, along with a lot of props as well as gear cases. So see Mike Weinert, as he's got a lot of equipment for sale. Our newest OPC class. Well, he did us a favor and got down the course in a hurry. We appreciate that. Water will settle down while we refuel our 250s and get them ready to go right back out. Our last heat of the day, then a great dinner tonight upstairs at the Legion. Or maybe out here at the tables, if you'd like. So again, don't forget, fans, 7 o'clock. $30 to the 3, guys. 30 to the 3. Again, 7 o'clock for the dinner tonight. So again, fans, don't forget, for $29.99, we got a 3-month special. Go to boatracing.tkdssports.com to be able to sign on and get all of the 2022 national championships on TKDS Sports. And we also have a program where we'll link you up, and if any of your friends or family sign up, there is a credit of 10% for each driver or each fan that signs on. Again, boatracing.tkdssports.com. All right, the 3-minute gun has been fired, so we are ready to go with the final heat of the day of 250 hydro. 7 o'clock for the dinner tonight, 11 o'clock for drivers meeting tomorrow morning. All right, we get ready as Kevin Ellison again hits the water first. Kevin out of Luxembourg, Wisconsin. And we'll look for Pete Nydall, Curtis Nydall, and Eric Wilson, unless somebody else can get theirs back together and run again. As Eric Wilson now hits the water. Gary Merkel trying to get fired up. Loaded it up coming out of that first turn. Oh, don't sit there, my man. Well, then, thank you, Gary. He's coming into the middle and going to pull the plug. That gets him out of the line of fire. Good job, Mr. Merkel. All right, we've got 4 of them. We've got Curtis Nydall, Pete Nydall, Kevin Ellison, and Eric Wilson. About 10 seconds to go now. Here they come. Oh, man. Kevin Ellison leading them up with Curtis Nydall, Eric Wilson, and Pete Nydall. All boats are legal. Kevin Ellison out front of Curtis, but look at Curtis on the outside now. Curtis gonna sweep the turn. Kevin turns inside, holds him off as they come out of the corner. Kevin able to hang on with him as Curtis Nydall trying everything he can. Now look at this. Curtis down the backstretch now. Curtis on the outside, peeks out front. As Papa Pete sits over here on the front straightaway. Look at this. Curtis now pulls the lead. Curtis Nydall out front. Trying to go 3 for 3 as he will end up with a perfect 1200 if it finishes like this. White flag, 1 more to go. Curtis Nydall looking to go back to back to back as he, Mike Werner, and Ike Yoder will be the only drivers today with perfect 1,200 points. Curtis Nydall coming across for the win with Kevin Ellison for second. Eric Wilson will finish in the 3rd spot. Well, fans, thank you for being here. We've had a great day of racing. When my friends or family ask me how the races went today, I can tell them it was great. Everybody is safe. We are done for the day. Want to thank all of our turn judges, our judges here at the judges stand. What a great group we have. Jeff Lake, our referee, along with Sue Saylor, our chief scorer. Thank you for all of the folks that have helped her today. Kelly and Denise, Dawn, Joyce, thank you. Wendy, thank you very much. And thank you. Abby, I'll get them all. But we really do thank you for being here and helping us. Thank you very much. David, thank you. David is one of those guys that just is always willing to help, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you, buddy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you hear, that was it for today. Don't forget you can take us for a test lap, only $29.99 for 3 months of service. And you're going to get all those nationals that are coming up. 3 major months of boat racing coming up for you to watch here on TKDS Sports Network. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow, and we'll be back at it here again in Constantine with the U.S. Title Series, PowerMist Racing Hours. Again, thanks for watching. Find us on social media at Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at TKDS Sports. Come on, let's go, boatracing.tkdssports.com. Find us on the water. We'll see you there. When you get on the water, we'll already be there. Thanks for watching.
Than 1 minute to go for the start. These drivers will begin to work over there on the backstretch, and they'll try to find a spot that gives them comfort and gives them some speed as we get ready to go.